What is going on? I'm Aslan Hajavandi. That is Michael Langston. You're watching us live here on YouTube, Warchant TV. It is the warchant.com recruiting call-in show with the aforementioned Michael Langston, taking your phone calls, questions on YouTube all evening long, or at least for like the next hour or so. It'll also be up in a podcast version that's on the same feed as Seminole Headlines, everybody. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Use that promo code WARCHANT30. You need it. You need to be plugged in this weekend. Mega Camp, Elite Camp, it's all going down. Michael Langston, Austin Cox, Irish O'Fell, maybe even the great Tom Lang will be out there pitching. Maybe even I will be as well. It's going to be fun. Subscribe to the YouTube page as well. Michael, what else can they do to show some love?
Hit the like button, guys. Hit that. It helps us promote it all and keep these things rolling because it's going to be pretty heavy in the month of June, and we're back. Yeah, that's all I can say. We're back. So we're back to action, and certainly hit that like button. Just keeps promoting these things that these great videos that we put out, team recruiting, whatever.
Michael, is this an important weekend because it is kind of like the rebirth, it's the restart of the cycle, or do we think this is going to be kind of like a pivotal weekend to make an impression on difference makers and not just regular dudes because it's the elite camp?
I think anytime guys are visiting, it's kind of a continuation of the spring. It's kind of the start of it again. So I think it's important because this is maybe the last chance you get to impress these guys before the season starts. So certainly the visits are a big deal. Even guys you're working out at camp, at the elite camp on June 4th, you want to get them. And I do hear that they're also possibly hosting a official visitor. Make sure I get this name right. I don't want to screw it up. But 1 second. I want to make sure I get this right, guys, before I tell you.
All right.
All right. JUCO wide receiver Colby Young. Aslan can look him up. I've heard he's trying to iron out an official visit for FSU this weekend. I know he's officially going to visit Pittsburgh and Tennessee kind of back to back in early June, but I think he wants to get an official done for FSU this weekend. I think they're working out the details, trying to get it done to iron out. And certainly if I get it confirmed, I will post it on the boards, but I know that's kind of what they're doing. I'm in communication with Colby, so we're trying to see if he gets set up and he'll let me know, but that's a name to kind of know. I think they offered him, I want to say a week or two ago, but he's a guy that certainly I keep an eye on, but I have to update his offers. If the offer's not up there, I will put that up eventually, but he's a name that I think could be an official visitor this weekend, JUCO wide receiver.
All right. I think this might be some of his footage right here. But all right, 6'4", 215. It says we don't know what he looks like, but does it really matter? As long as he can go up and get the ball like that. All right, we'll take that. That'll hunt. So, all right, that's good to know. It is a call-in show. We'll get to those shortly, but we got our guy, Duval County, stand up. He's been liking all the content we've been cranking out here lately, Michael, since we did do a little bit of a stint out there. Let's go to our guy, Khalil Young. Khalil gets a little bit of this. It's back. It's back. The horn is back. Sorry. Not sorry. Which assistant coach is the hottest on the trail right now? And you can't say Alex Atkins, Michael.
Why not?
I know. What kind of rules are these?
I think Odell's really good. I like what Odell's doing. I think Marcus Woodson does a great job. And then Tony Tokarts is the guy we don't talk about as much. I think he's doing a really good job. And so I think those are the guys. It's kind of hard to talk, Khalil, who's hot yet when we're waiting for these guys to visit. But I think those guys, immediately just jump out to me, as far as, what they've done so far with certain guys. So those are the ones I would say.
Thanks, Khalil. Appreciate the tip. Lots of people excited. Let's hop right to a phone call. Let's keep this thing rolling. We got 3 people in the queue already, man. People want answers. We'll try to get as many as we possibly can. Some fan favorites as well. Let's go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Mr. 757, none other than Mr. Gator Kirk. Gator Kirk, what's up, man?
What's up, gentlemen? How you doing this evening?
Good, deal. Good to have you on, Kirk. You're a lot more peppier this week. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. What call number is this, Aslan?
100. It says 100 total calls. There we go, 100. I mean, I know you don't like it, Gator Kirk, but it's only fitting to do a little bit of that. 100, man. Look at that. Time flies, Gator Kirk. What you got on the mind?
All right. So, Hill, Hunter, Mims, who's first to enroll at FSU? What about, this one's for Michael. What about covering recruiting is most rewarding for you?
I always thanks for the question. I would say Hill would be my choice out of that group that you mentioned, but I think the most rewarding thing, and I've always said this, is the relationships that you have for a lifetime with a lot of these guys. You know, I get to know them a lot really personally. Obviously, we showed that kind of, this past week when me and Aslan went to Jacksonville. It's just you get a personal connection with these guys that are just, that's the most rewarding, that whether it's FSU or not, they get to go and fulfill a dream of playing college football somewhere, and it's exciting for me to see them achieve that dream. And the relationships I have last forever. There's guys I talked to didn't even go to FSU, or they did go to FSU, and we still talk all the time. So the relationships for me is the biggest takeaway for that, Kirk, as far as something I'll have forever with these guys, and they will have forever. And so we get to know people personally, that tell them personal stuff about me, and they say the same thing. So to me, that's the biggest takeaway I do from this job, and what I get out of it. That's the most rewarding.
All right, I appreciate it. I appreciate you all taking the call. Make sure everyone, you hit the thumbs up. Join Warchant. Support the supporters of Warchant. Y'all have a great night. Looking forward to an exciting June and summer. Can't wait for fall camp as well. And first game. Go Noles.
Absolutely.
Gator Kirk, everybody. Virginia Beach, Virginia's own, joining us here for his 100th call-in ever. Wake up. Recruiting shows. Post-game shows. 100. Shout out to him. Also, shout out to DeLunaCoffee.com. They don't sponsor this show, but we love them. We give them a shout out whenever we can. Our guy Ed, Brett, representing DeLunaCoffee.com. Check them out. Get your tumblers branded. Wake up Warchant. It's beautiful. I'm going to have you using this all weekend. Should be going up to Auburn this weekend, maybe catch some baseball. So I'll be filled up with my DeLuna. Look at this guy. All right, let's go. Look at a little bit of bang, a little bit of and a little bit of what? And a little more of what? James B. Come on, man. Come on, James B.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, James.
Bow to your sensei, Aslan. James B. Hello, fellas. 100 American dollars, by the way. Excitement if you're listening to the podcast version of this, which we apologize. I think hopefully the volume's not too overpowering, but you got to make them feel it. Hello, fellas. Do you think that someday, when looking up recruits, we will see an asking price next to their measurables? For example, 6'5", 295, asking for $60,000 per year. This is a bit tongue-in-cheek, of course, but
yeah, well, until you get a hold of a guidelines and structure of this thing, yeah, anything's possible. Certainly, James. So, but it's hard to put a set guideline of what it will be and what it won't be. We've already seen things go out of just this world, like the Tennessee commit that's supposedly getting $7 million quarterback. We've seen all kinds of things go up and down. Until there's some structure to this, yeah, anything's certainly possible, James.
James, such a good dude, says that the $100 is in honor of the 100 calls from the one, the only Gator Kirk.
There you go.
Fan.
I like that. That's
family
cool.
Family. Let's take a phone call so we can avoid a Destyn Hill question.
I don't mind.
We'll get to everybody, I promise. It's Wes, everybody. It's Wes in the Villages. I think he might be second place. Let's see what he's got in the queue. 76 of these he's done. So what up, Wes? How are you, man?
Good evening, fellas. What's up, Aslan? What's up, Michael?
What's going on, Wes?
Hey, not a lot. So real quick, one of the things I want to ask before I forget, you guys, good job, both of you, on those recruiting videos. I was curious if either of you or both are going to be making it down the Orlando way near me anytime later this year for those videos, or was it just kind of staying up in the northern part of the state?
It's kind of a wait and see thing. It was kind of the week worked out perfectly for me just because we were kind of just prepping for the June camp. So yeah, it's possible. I just I don't want to commit to it, and I don't know because I don't know. There's too many guys Orlando based that you're pushing for. Like Jacksonville had 3 really major targets, so that was kind of easy for us to do. But certainly, if we do, Wes, I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah, very cool. I just didn't know if that was just like only doing that now, and now with the camps coming up, if that might wait or just whatever. So it's, yeah, no worries. You definitely let me know after we get together. And speaking of the camps, I asked you last year prior to the camp starting an over/under commits over the summer. Make it kind of easy. I'm going to say 1.5. You think over or under after the end of the summer for commits?
I'd say it'll be over that. That will be my pick. Obviously, I'm not hearing that there's expected to be one like coming from all these elite in camps, and I think people base the success of these events on just guys committing right then. But I do think there's going to be above that number when you talk about the end of the summer. I think there's going to be multiple guys. They got the big weekend on June 10th. There's a lot of guys coming in. I think Shelton Sampson's coming in, the quarterback they just offered. Is also coming in, for official visit. So, and I think the June 24th weekend is even bigger. I think it's going to be around 10 or 11 official visitors. I think you're going to have, some good news, following, those visits, and then you hit the dead period. I think in July. So I think at the end of the summer, yeah, I think it's going to be above that.
Excellent. And I want to piggyback before I go off what you just said with that quarterback commit. So we've recently offered 2 quarterbacks. We got 3 guys on scholarship that, as long as nobody transfers, would all be back next year. And you got Parson committed, who's obviously, we know what he is. I'm curious. I know he's posting about his offers he's getting lately. Are you feeling a vibe of them? I mean, I can see Norvell offering 1 quarterback, but 2. Does that say you don't not feel good about 1, or do you think, in your opinion, do you feel like Parson may be a little iffy if he stays in the class, or what's your vibe on that?
I haven't heard anything that makes me iffy about Parson, although it is kind of irritating. Like anytime they go after a second quarterback or a second quarterback's mentioned, he's kind of reacted, so to speak, on that, like with the posting his offers. And then before that, I think on his Instagram, way back, he took the FSU stuff off, then put it back on, and then obviously visited and everything was cool. I haven't heard anything that's concerning, but that's kind of, I mean, I see really lightly bothers me just because, quarterback is you shouldn't worry about who's coming in. It's like AJ Duffy came last year. He didn't worry about if there was a second guy. He didn't care, so, and the quarterback's the leader of your class. You want to see that. So you kind of want to see, I guess, for me, just more, caring about what the class is, not, they recruited another guy. But I haven't heard anything requesting. I think they offered 2 because, those are 2 they evaluated in person. They were sold on them, and you got to have choices. You can't just go after one guy because you got to pretend the notion that, hey, one of these guys is probably going to end up somewhere else. So you got to act like, hey, give us choices that, both of them are likely going to officially visit it. They both have told me, hey, I'm officially visiting FSU. So you got to give yourself options. And 2, we just don't know what that roster is going to be next year. We don't know if, Jordan Travis decides to leave or somebody transfers. You have to prepare and develop your quarterback room to what it can be and what could happen. Not saying it will, not that I've heard anything with those guys, but it's not a guarantee that those guys are going to be returning. So you have to actually, you have to prepare like one of them or 2 of them aren't going to be there just in case. And that's, I think it's important to them to have 2 quarterbacks because, like I said, it's no guarantee that, Jordan Travis is here again. He's been here for 3 years, so be 3 years. So it's not a guarantee.
I hear you. One last thing. Is Top Gun a must-go see?
Phenomenal. I loved it. Me and Diane are actually going to go see it again because I was so impressed. I won't say anything about anything that happened in the movie, but I would say they kept with the principles of the first one. That was really good, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen it, go see it, guys. It's a must see. It was awesome. I loved every minute.
All right, guys, I'll get off here. Thanks for the time, Aslan. Appreciate it. Good looking out, buddy. You guys, everybody, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as warchant.com, the best in the business. Make sure to support DeLuna, support Zaxby's, the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, all that. Get in on it. Y'all have a good evening and go Noles.
Thank you, buddy.
Boom. It's Wes, everybody. Wes in the Villages. We appreciate the phone call. Always good questions, good queries. We got Ralph on deck. We'll get to him in a sec. Let's take some YouTube comments. Let's keep everybody possibly engaged, as many as we can. Timmy, Michael, if you had to choose one, which would you choose? Sam Singleton, Dalen Smothers.
Love both. Yeah, I love both. I love both. I love both of them. Obviously, we around Sam a lot this week, so I like him, and I've been around Dalen a lot. For me, I would choose Smothers. For me, I like both of them, but I think Smothers does so many things. Obviously, Sam's coming off, injury, which he was out there. That's why we didn't do a lot of where you didn't see a lot of working out and stuff. We had planned we were going to do that, and so we got to wait and see how he responds to the injury. But for me, it's just like when I see Smothers, he's just a game breaker in every sense of the word. He just does everything for. So if I was choosing, hold a gun to my head, I would go with Smothers. But I think I think either one FSU staff would be extremely elated with either one of those guys because they're both top premier guys. I think Singleton is faster. He's got big wheels, so he certainly FSU loves that speed. So, but I think for me, I would pick Smothers.
William Flynn, Michael, who was the one who got away that you really felt like was a sure thing, other than the one young man from earlier this cycle? Well, actually, last year, technically, right?
Yeah.
Devon Mortimer.
I would say, yeah, Mortimer was one, but I would say Tyree West. I really thought they were going to get that guy. Usually when Odell locks his hooks in with a relationship, it's usually got it done. And it seemed to be, location was a big deal to him. And certainly we know what Odell does with defensive tackles. And I really thought that was one that they were, it seemed like close to, likely as far as it's going to happen that they were going to get him. Mortimer kind of surprised me, but there was also kind of some signs of, hey, maybe he's kind of looking around. So, but with Tyree West, he hadn't decided yet, and it just felt like everything clicked and it was going to be FSU, but ended up at Tennessee.
All right. Good question. Well, good answer, Michael. Appreciate you opening up like that. Let's not make our guy wait much longer. Let's go right to it. Let's go to Hawaii, everybody.
Yeah.
Get some Dramamine. It's a long flight, but we got the internet on our side. It's Ralph, everybody. Ralph, what's going on, man? How's it?
Hello, guys. How's it? How's everyone?
Ralph, what's going on, my man?
Oh, man. I just counting the clock down to getting in Tallahassee, August 25th. Counting the clock.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, if I may real quick echo your sentiment about Top Gun Maverick. We went 4DX. I think the experience is overrated, but the movie is just phenomenal. We're going to see it again in IMAX this time. It's a great movie.
Absolutely, man. Phenomenal.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask my question, so I didn't tie up the line too long.
Okay.
I was going to actually ask about Parsons, but Wes beat me to it, so it just shows you where he's at. What I want to know, and something I've been wondering about, is when do you think that the staff evaluation and development is going to overtake our need to hit the transfer portal so much? And I know that we're always going to get onesies and twosies, but it seems like obviously the last couple of years while Mike is turning this thing around, we're really relying on it really heavy. When do we start seeing that homegrown or that developed talent take over the need of filling voids?
I think, Ralph, that would probably be, for me, 2 years down the line, because the good news is the guys, which this is why I like what they did last year with this year's class. every one of these guys are all multiple year guys. You know, I'm a big believer in multiple year transfers. So I think it'll transfer over to that at several positions that FSU's gotten guys. So I think probably 2 years for me. If I was making a pick, I mean, that's what I would say. And where you're not going to have to depend so much on the transfer, but right now it's a necessity of what they have if you want to, turn your program around quickly and improve your product. You're not looking for improvement of 11 wins, but you're looking to, shoot up to that, 8, 9 win mark. And then after that, maybe 10 wins. And then bam, you're not as focused in there where, we're looked at the last few years, you're signing, 9 guys in a transfer class where, you get it down to like maybe 3 or 4, something like that, where it's more suitable, where you could take majority of the high school kids. So I think 2 years for me.
Yeah, and kind of for me, anyways, I see a lot of the message board. Some position coaches are taking a lot of heat, and I don't know if it's fair to really judge them yet based off of the holes everywhere and so forth. So I'm looking to really see when we're at that point where we can really start evaluating how well our coaches are doing, our assistant coaches, our position coaches are doing and developing their talent before we realize, well, maybe they're part of the problem. We should be seeking new coaches in addition to just players. So I'm really looking forward to that point where we can really start holding coaches responsible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you're not wrong. I mean, they're getting close to that point where it's a make or break time where you need to see growth, on the field, as far as wins. So I think they're getting close to that where you can start evaluating them, but you have to have, as to your point, you have to have the roster to actually execute that plan. I think now they're
Right.
closer to that, so we can kind of evaluate them of what they're doing in the next year and next year after that. So that's why I mentioned 2 years. I think you could start seeing a slow decrease on the transfer portal. But I think judging wise, I think the next few years is going to be, especially this year, it's a big year as far as how you can evaluate these guys as coaches. But I will also add, I love what Norvell's doing as far as everything with the program, the buy-in, the preparation, the organization. I like how he's really gone. I mean, like I told people on the boards this morning, like they started from the bottom when he took over. Like it was at the bottom. Like that's where they were because of the late years and Jimbo years, and then also the Taggart staff of how things just fell apart. So I think they come a long ways to where they were back then, and now they're just creating the culture and the excitement and the playmakers that kind of he envisioned. So now you just need to see more consistency, and I think this next year, it's where you can start judging what these coaches are.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I don't want to tie you guys up any longer. When I'm in town, hopefully we can do dinner again. If you allow me to, please say a big hello to Diane for me.
I will, buddy.
We'll see you guys soon, yeah?
I will. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, we'll see y'all. Aslan, have a good one.
You as well. That's Ralph, everybody. It's our dude out in Hawaii. Semper Fi Ura. It's our dude. Thanks for the call, Ralph. We appreciate the heck out of you, man. Let's see. Let's get back here to YouTube. Phone line is open. A reminder, 850-792-5730 is the call-in number. Should be at not the bottom of the actual screen, but if you're watching on YouTube in the IM description, that's the phone number. You guys can call it in. All right, let's get to it, man. Let me try to avoid it.
Before we do that, I don't usually drop like hoops little notes, but Taylor Bowen, he's a 6'9" forward, 2023 class basketball. He's going to officially visit FSU on June 11th. So I was just sent that text by somebody about his recruitment. He's a guy they like a lot. Obviously got some tough news today. John Butler staying in the draft, but Leonard always has a plan. So I'm sure there's somebody that he has in line, and we'll wait and see if he can pull that off. But Taylor Bowen will visit FSU on June 11th. That's what I was just told. So just pass that along. So carry on, Aslan.
Yeah, I can't believe John Butler's going pro. That's crazy, man. But best of luck, man. I really hope it works out, man. He's got his own. I'm sure he's got his own reasoning and everything, and I don't know what it is, but best of luck to him. But yeah, I hope Leonard does have a plan, man. That's crazy. San Antonio, Noel Lee. I wonder if it's San Antonio, Florida, or Texas. Actually, I don't want to know. I want it to be a mystery, Lee. I just want to. When are we going to be notified that Destyn Hill has enrolled? When will it be confirmed? Now, before you get to it, Michael, we had Ira on the podcast, Wake Up Warchant. And, my impression was in the past, it seems like when transfers would come in, and I know he's not a transfer, but you have to obviously enroll to be able to be a student here and for them to talk about you and put you through the paces and have you practice. Right. You can't just show up to Tallahassee, not be a student, and practice with Florida State's football team. Right. At least I don't think so. Right. Dimitri Emanuel is enrolled now, but I don't know when the enrollment window opened up. But Ira was saying that that's really not the case actually. So I'm wrong per usual. There is not really a hard and fast date where it's like if he's not here by this date, then it's over. But June, there's possibilities. There's windows and stuff. But yeah, once he's enrolled, we'll know. But we don't have a firm date. But I don't know if you have anything else to add to it, Michael. I don't want to put you out there by yourself.
No, you didn't, and trust me, you'll be notified. I mean, this is going to be something I check on. I check on this every 3 days. So trust me, whether it's good or bad, I'm going to tell you. If he's going to be there, then we will certainly notify the second he's there, and then certainly if we find out hey, this isn't happening, or something like that, which I haven't heard anything suggesting that, then I'll definitely inform you. But June is kind of the month I've got circled as far as something happened. Obviously reported, last week about, Antavius Woody. He was the last remaining guy in this 2022 class that has signed, but hadn't enrolled yet. He's supposed to enroll on June 20th. So the last one I guess they're waiting on is Destyn Hill. And like I said, the word's still that June they expect him, and they're pretty firm on that. And they're pretty firm on believing that he's going to be there. So we'll see.
All right. I mean, if you got some over under on the amount of questions that we get versus the amount of catches, we have more questions about Destyn Hill in the next 48 hours, or will he have more catches this season or something? Who knows?
Golden
All right,
unicorn.
let's keep it rolling. Our guy Island Boy. I'm an Island Boy, but I think he's original Island Boy. I think he was Island Boy before the Island Boys became a thing. His query is Santana Fleming still be recruiting by FSU? As of recent, I have not heard much of him.
Yeah, he's still being recruited by FSU. Obviously, he's expected to visit there again this summer. I don't know the date. I haven't heard him listed as a June 4th visit, but yeah, they are still recruiting him. Obviously, I mean, I think another thing with Santana is kind of falls back to what I talked about. He kind of wants to see what these guys look like on the field before he jumped in there. I think if FSU was an 8-9 wins team last year or something like that, I think this is a kid that probably would have already been committed. But he is definitely a guy that I do think they're still involved with.
Okay. All right. We like receivers. The more, the merrier. Timmer. Who's going to be the biggest star on campus at camp this weekend, Michael?
That's a good question. We got to find out who's actually for sure going to be there. Two guys I have circled. One is DJ Chester. I'm very high on him. DJ told me about 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, that he's coming over for the June 4th event. I'm very high on him. I think he's a guy that's certainly moving up the boards for FSU. On defense, I like Avery Stewart. He's a defensive back that I'm pretty high on, that visited FSU recently, was blown away, loved everything. So he seems to be pretty high. And I think, we forget about this guy, but a guy that I think could put on a show is Lamont Green Jr. I think Lamont is phenomenal. Boots is his nickname, but he is coming over. It's going to work out, and I think he's a guy that is almost a forgotten guy because he's so talented and because he's a legacy that people just forget. How much he has grown as a player with his size and everything. He's not 6'4", 222. He's probably around 6'4", maybe 6'5", probably 40 now, or close to 240. So he's growing into his body, and I think he could put on a show this weekend.
All right. Tom Ortner. By the way, shout out. Thanks, Tom. He was saying that he looks like I put on 10 pounds in a good way. Got a little bit of a tan. The shirt is cut very flattering for me, Tom. Most of it's gone here, unfortunately, but trying, man. Thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. He does ask if FSU were to need, let's say, $3 million a year to match Alabama's quote unquote salary cap. Can we do it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let Aslan take that.
I think so. I would think so, Mike. I mean, we realize the cost of doing business. Now, do I think Alabama's payroll is $3 million? No. I think it's probably bigger than that. I think it's probably bigger than that. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't like talking about this stuff, Michael. I know you don't like talking about it, man. It's gonna be part of your life, man. It's gonna be a huge part of your life.
I don't mind talking about anything. So this doesn't bother me. It's just some of these questions you can't really like. You ask me where our kids going or leaning or schools that are involved, and hey, if FSU is going to get them, I can do that. But this is more of a wait and see of where they're at as far as money. Yeah, I agree with Aslan that it can do it. Certainly can do it. Will they do it? That's impossible for us to guarantee. But I think it's likely.
Shout out to Jamel King. I'm going to ask my question and leave. Got to watch a show tomorrow at work. It'll be here for you. It is live right now, but it's also on demand afterwards. Although he's 2024, I've heard it's a possibility he could reclassify to 23. So how are we looking with Desmond Ricks?
Yeah, first of all, Desmond told me, it's a possibility, but it's not something that's, something he's giving heavy thought to. It's just something to see if he can do that, reclassify. Early on, FSU was the leader. I think now, I think Alabama's kind of taken over the lead since he visited there more recently. He's supposed to be back at FSU this summer, maybe even June 4th, I was told. I'm waiting to hear on that, but certainly so. When you're battling Alabama, it's a challenge, but I think FSU's right there, but I think, Alabama's, slightly ahead at this point.
Makari Vickers. By the way, this cuts me to the core, Gator Kirk. Aslan will get married before Destyn Hill enrolls at FSU.
Oh,
Ouch.
wow.
Ouch. That hurts, Gator Kirk. That hurts.
Man.
E2 Brute. Timmy. I mean, Timmy's just taking all these nuggets and putting on in his blog somewhere or Twitter. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Is it Alabama and FSU for Makari Vickers?
Yeah, I would say those are two teams. I wouldn't count out Stanford either. He's really high on Stanford. Obviously their football combination with academics is a big deal to him. So I think those three teams, certainly are ones to watch. I think Makari's going to visit Alabama, I think officially this summer, and then obviously FSU. He's there all the time, so that's kind of a wait and see. But yeah, those are the three teams.
Do you think Destyn Hill knows how much people wonder about him in Tallahassee and Florida State fans? Like, do you think he has because I don't. He doesn't have a social media presence, to my understanding.
Yeah, he's not like he's tweeting all the time. So I don't think he realizes the level of him being the golden unicorn that everyone's waiting on. But I think if he knew, he would chuckle a little bit, maybe have a little fun with it. But yeah, I don't think he knows. But yeah, Joseph, we already covered that earlier. The expectation is the summer. Like I've always took the thing of we'll see, if he shows, because we've heard that so much. But that's where we're at with that.
Call us. By the way, Destyn, you're watching, man. Give us a call.
Destyn, give me a call. I would say my number. We're on video, so I don't want everyone calling me. But yeah, DM me on Instagram. Hit me up, man.
All right, let me see. I think there's a Philip Morris, not the tobacco magnate, if I'm not mistaken. Any top blue chip recruit we can get back into the game with if we were to have a 8 to 10 win season?
I think there's several guys. I mean, you can't really characterize it just there's just one blue chip. I think it really dramatically changes just how FSU's looked at, because so many guys are like, hey, I want to see what these dudes look like, and they're not. A lot of people think like, oh, they're saying, oh, you got to win 9 games. They're not even looking for that. They're just looking at 7 or 8. They're looking to see, just an improved product. So I think if you get to that 8-win mark, I mean, I think it dramatically changes. There's a lot of guys. I mean, guys like Brandon Ennis, guys like Tyler Williams, wide receiver. There's so many out there that are considering FSU. Even 2024 guys that kind of want to see just what the product's going to look like. I don't think there's been a year that there's more anticipation from recruits that I talk to, and I talk to a lot of them, of what this team is going to look like, because they understand like where they started and where they're at and what they did last year, and then kind of the guys they added. So, and they understand, the type of talent that is on this roster. There's some very good talent there, a lot of different positions. So I think the anticipation of what these guys will do is really going to impact things, good or bad.
All right, good stuff. All right, yeah, man. Can you imagine we win 10 wins? Yeah, everyone's gonna want to be here. We got to fight people off with a stick. Okay,
It will be a very positive situation, and it will help you take that next step. It also helps with NIL when you're winning. When you're winning, I've always said this before with NIL, that kind of takes care of itself when you win, because then you can put together stuff, you can handle stuff. Winning cures a lot as far as the NIL stuff. So everyone keeps mentioning like, oh, FSU can't do this, and this school does this. This school, Texas has money, and Texas A&M has oil money, and like FSU is going to be competitive in that market. But to really solidify being competitive, you have to do a product on the field to solidify a kid committing to a product like that. So it all comes back at the end with the NIL and all the crazy numbers we hear out there. But for FSU, it all comes back ultimately to what you do on the field and what product we're seeing on the field.
Timmy asked another question, but he's not going to get it in right now. I'll wait on it. TJ the Boss, solid avatar. How about some soundtrack? Thank you, TJ the Boss. El Padrone. Pick your best player, freshman through senior. Who's the best freshman on the team, the best sophomore on the team, the best junior on the team?
Wow.
And COVID ruined all this, I feel like. I think, well, no, he played. So sophomore, I would say Amarian Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Senior, I don't know, Jamie Robinson. I'm trying to think who's going to be like my number one player.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Jordan? Jordan's not a senior, so I would say him as a junior.
Yeah.
And freshman, I mean, who we thinking or redshirted? I don't know, like Thomas Schrader, but not, man, hasn't played yet.
I like Sam.
Zary Thomas.
For me, freshman, I like Sam McCall. Every time I see him, the dude just looks different. The dude plays different. Sophomore, I'm going to go a little surprised. Kevin Noles. I think he's a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. Junior, for me, that's easy with Jordan Travis because he's so impactful into the game with everything. And then I guess senior, I don't know. Does
Coop?
Does Tatum have 2 years or 1 year?
Oh no, he's got to be a senior.
So if he's a senior, I would go with Tatum. I really love Tatum's game, so that's kind of what I would roll with.
All right,
that's $10 worth, right? That's $10 worth.
Yeah, a good question, man. Good question, TJ. It's a recruiting show, but that really wasn't a recruiting question. But we figured it out. All right, I'm sure people are yelling at their screen. You should have said this guy. We'll pop it on the screen if they actually type it out. But thank you, TJ. Welcome to the Terror Dome, by the way. I think it's your first time on the show, man. James B was hyping up his guy from the Panhandle, Zary Thomas, but he does love Sam McCall.
I love both of those guys. They're phenomenal. AZ is incredible. If I didn't pick McCall, I was going to pick AZ. The only reason I picked McCall is just physically, he seems to be already there. But both of them, I think, are going to have a solid impact in this defense. So I don't think you can go wrong with picking either one of them. It's just when I watched these guys when I was out there, McCall was like every day, like just play, make play every time. And Azare wasn't far behind, but for me, Sam just was always there.
Good stuff. All right, let's take a phone call. I apologize to our caller. They've called in 12 times now. I don't recall exactly who they are. If they could identify themselves and ask their question, welcome in. Who is this?
This is Kyle from Colorado.
Hey, Kyle. Are you still in Colorado? You're now in North Carolina.
No, I'll be in North Carolina July 1st.
Okay. All right. Kyle from Colorado. He'll be in North Carolina soon enough. Get down or lay down if you're a YouTube, everybody. What up, Kyle?
Oh, same old, same old. Got a quick question for Michael. What's
Sure.
the coaching staff's reputation on the recruiting trail for keeping their promises? And which coach is the biggest hit with the parents?
That's a good one. Yeah, I think they're very positive. I mean, in fact, there's a lot of schools. I know this is going to be hard for fans to actually grasp this because you're talking about a team that hasn't finished above 500 yet in a bit. But 3 years, Aslan
Four
tells
straight
me,
years.
4 years straight. So there's a lot of fear in what these guys do because I think there's a lot of respect to what they do. It's not based off what Florida State used to be. It's like they see what these guys are, and so there's a lot of fear about what these guys are going to be, and that there's momentum building with that. I would say, there's a lot of guys that connect with parents. I think the two best for me is Marcus Woodson and Alex Atkins. Atkins would be number one for me. Just the way he connects with families is genuine, unique, and it's so direct. It's so he treats. I've said this many times. Like he treats recruits like they're his own players, even if they don't end up going to FSU. He's so he treats them like regular people, like he does his own players, and he's hard on them. So he's hard on the recruits just as good. And so I think that resonates with a lot of families and a lot of people. And so for me, it would be Alex Atkins, the top one, and then Marcus Woodson is phenomenal as well with the parents.
Awesome. Well, it's good to hear that we're doing right by these kids, starting from the recruiting trail, and it's good for Florida State. I appreciate the answer, guys. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you, Kyle. He's in Colorado. We'll be back in North Carolina soon enough, everybody. Get down or lay down on the YouTube. We appreciate the phone call from our dude, Kyle. Let's see what else we got here on the YouTube. Tom Ortner wondering who wins in a four-way caged death match between Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban, Brian Kelly, and Mike Norvell. I'm gonna go with youth. I'm gonna go with youth. I'm gonna take Mike. I'm gonna take Mike.
Yeah, that's tough. I got to know Jimbo a lot, so I'm gonna go with Jimbo. That dude's feisty. He's not backing down from anybody. So I love Mike. Mike, I love you, dude. I love you. You're awesome. You do a great job, but Jimbo's my guy. That dude's relentless.
Tom and James B think that Jimbo would probably have a shiv or something hidden in his boot. Probably fights dirty. I mean, yeah.
You didn't say who fights fair. You just said who's going to fight, who's going to win. So I think Jimbo's going to do whatever to get it done.
Brandon Pickett is lost on the internet. He's on a recruiting show. Doesn't have a recruiting question. It's fine though, Brandon. We appreciate it, man. Welcome, Brandon with 2 N's. I like that. Not a recruiting question, but what do y'all think about Travis Jay switching to wide receiver? I think he could be very good.
I mean, he's played a little bit of it when he was at Madison, a little, not a lot. Mostly plays defense or special teams. So here's the thing: it's like, he's had a lot of plays where he drops the ball. Do you want him catching balls on offense if he's having trouble catching the ball on defense? So maybe it will. Maybe a change will maybe work. But I think it's time for him to step it up. I mean, he is an ultra talented guy, but whether it's receiver or DB, I think it's time where you have all these young cats in here. You have all these transfers. It's time where he has to start taking a next step. With a lot of guys that we've already seen do that. So I think I am the biggest supporter of Travis. I'm a phenomenal kid. I love him. Really high on his skill set, but eventually, it's kind of take the next step. But I think he'd do fine there. But I haven't heard anything as far as him switching receiver. But I would just kind of mention that the biggest complaint is like finishing plays and getting picks and catching the ball. So you're asking him to play offense when that's a problem. That's just kind of, I don't know. But I mean, I'd try it out, see how it works. But he's played it before.
Scott, yeah. Scott asks about Destyn Hill. James says scroll up, rewind, scrub back maybe about 20 or so minutes. We covered it the weekly or the monthly show. When we do this, we do address it. So We've already hit it. We got to go back to Timmy, unfortunately.
There we go.
Just kidding, Timmy. Where do we stand with linebacker Caleb Lavelle?
Yeah, Caleb Lavelle, I want to say Maplesboro, Georgia. See if I'm right, Aslan, where he's from. If I'm not, I know it's Maples something, so if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But Guy's visited FSU twice in the spring. He's going to officially visit FSU. I think FSU is very high on this list. I think Randy Shannon's done a really good job with him, and he's the guy. I think I'll go on record. Just I think that FSU stands out a little more than Miami and a few other schools. I just think there's the opportunity to play early and just the feeling he's with when he gets at FSU, when he's on FSU's campus and just around the team it seems to be unique with Caleb. So I think FSU's got a really solid shot there.
Does he exist? I can't find him on Google, and I'm in our database search, and I can't find him either. Does he spell his name differently or something?
I'm going to find it for you, Aslan.
I can't find that spelling there. Maybe Timmy's punking us, and you just
no, he's a real dude.
Okay,
I've talked to him many times. Hang on 1 second.
All right.
I got it.
Meantime, you got it.
Yeah. Caleb Lavallee. There's 2 L's at the end, so that Mapleton, Georgia. That's
I'm saying, is it spelled like it is on the screen though?
I think no, it's not.
All right. Demerit for you, Timmy. Take a lap.
It's L-A.
I'll find it. No, I'll find it. I will find it.
It's a little different, I think, than what Timmy had. Yeah, it's definitely different. He's got too many E's in there. Oh. It's Lava Lay with L-E, 2 L's and E. So you should be able to find it then.
Oh, there it is. That's actually not that bad of a misspelling. I'm sorry, Timmy. You can come back. There he is. There he is.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So he's definitely the guy I hear the most around FSU in the circles with the linebacker recruiting. So, which I think needs to step it up as far as more targets, and so I think this summer is going to be really big for FSU's linebacker recruiting. They
Tom Ortner. Oh, sorry. Tom Ortner holding the feet to the fire, Michael. Are we playing the same recruiting game as our geographic rivals yet? Langston, answer honestly, sir.
I always answer honestly, Tom. Don't you? I mean, everything. I tell Aslan's in the car when we're riding over to Duval. I'll tell you straight up, yes, they are playing the same recruiting game as your rivals. I mean, they're going after it hard. They're not letting up. I think the difference is a lot of schools say relationships where FSU actually shows it all the time. They don't just talk about, hey, it's big on relationships and all this stuff, but they also talk about, hey, what they are, what they are right now. They don't pull any punches, like where they're at right now and where it needs to be. So they're very direct with these recruits about what they are, and they're not afraid to go after teams. Now, they're not going to negatively recruit as frequently as some other places, but if something's not accurate, they're going to set them straight, and they've done that several times. So there you go. Tom. That's as honest as I can be, Tom.
You want it, you got it. San Antonio Noles going forward, do you think that we will stop throwing so many scholarships on tight ends? I think that some of them need to be redirected to the trench monsters on both sides. Let me ask you this, Michael. I mean, how much of it do we think it's them, I don't want to say desperately, but having an urgency to find somebody, and they're just kind of, I don't know if they really want 3 deep on their tight end depth chart, but it's like they want somebody that's dynamic and game breaking. So they're going to keep throwing stuff out until they find that one guy. Or is it them just wanting numbers?
Well, I think when you look at Jarrell Powers and you look at Brian Courtney, the guys they just added from this previous class, they're both very good receivers. Get open, they get separation there. That's the one thing they don't have with these guys that they currently, have. I mean, Cam does an okay job with it, but there's not consistency all the time. So I think they definitely want receiving tight ends, and they're going to keep offering till they get it, whether it's transfer portal or, from high school ranks or JUCO ranks. I think they clearly want some guys that give them a different dynamic in the receiving department from the tight end position.
Hit that thumbs up, everybody. We certainly would appreciate it. We're winding things down here on the Warchant.com recruiting show with Michael Langston. Octavio Cedeno, at this point, would you rather go back to where things used to be with paying student athletes? Yes.
I know where Aslan sits. Here's my thing with this NIL stuff. It's just like, to me, you have to have a same standard and guidelines for everybody. What you can certainly pay somebody. I don't mind paying athletes. I'm all down with that. Has to be the same for everybody. You can't just have different fluctuations of the wild free agency where one person's getting 7 million and another person's getting 300K. It's like, what is the guideline for all this? And that's what we don't have. So yeah, I'm down for paying student athletes. I'm down with that.
This guy isn't. I mean, I am. I can't wrap my head around a kid getting $250,000, being 19 years old, and being like a backup tight end. That's happening, but I mean,
the bigger question is you need structure in this crap. Like you can't just like have people running around wild. It's all over the place. It's like right now, there's no control or stability with this.
My thing is, I would like for them to come up with like a reasonable number. Like you should be able to access like almost like a trust fund where you can access a certain amount of money, but then it all gets unlocked once you graduate finally. Like I'm not, I don't want to withhold a bunch. I'm like, yeah, man, like what do you need more than $50,000 for if you're 18 years old? Like I get you got, listen, man, I wasn't flush. My parents weren't flush with cash, but like, what would I do with what would I do $350,000? Like buy another house for my parents? Like,
I think they should get extra money, but I agree with you. That's a good point, Aslan, that when you leave or depart, you can collect on all this stuff. But I do think you can throw them extra money and they should get paid. But really, I mean, how much is enough? How much is enough where it makes you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I was wrong on that. I'm sorry, buddy. Keep your barbs here. I get it. I mean, you're talented. You earn the money. Like you should be able to get it. But I don't want to know about it. That's the thing, really. I don't want to know about it because they've been getting paid forever, and I didn't know about it, and I was totally fine. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I don't want to know.
It doesn't exist.
T. Broyles wants to know. Great avatar, by the way. Look at this. Personal injury attorney. You think accountant?
Wow.
Medical sales representative. Well, I mean, that's strong. Tie combo. Nice blue hues. Somewhat monochromatic. I like it. He asks, how high is FSU's interest in Anthony Carey, running back out of Tampa?
That's a new one to me. I've not heard that name before.
Now, this guy. He's got some solid shades. Carrollwood Day. Never even heard of it. Shout out.
2024. He's a name that I've heard is familiar, but I haven't heard there's a solid activity yet push from FSU. So I would say probably they're evaluating, but I haven't heard like a push there yet for him. T.
Thanks, T. Broyles.
Is it Troy? You think it's Troy or Taylor? What do you think it's first name?
I don't know. That Thomas. I'm just going to go with Thomas. He just looks like a proper gentleman.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Shout out. Octavio's back scenario. FSU wins 11 games, including the bowl game. Is that enough to truly compete with the likes of Alabama and Texas A&M? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 11?
Yeah, come on, man.
I think anyway.
A while, but like when we were doing that, we were doing really good. Everybody,
Yeah.
Of course, it's not broken. They seem to, they kind of are, but like once it gets fixed, they're fine. We're not Penn State. We're not a gross place to go to school. They've been recruiting all right and winning football games. Sorry, Michael, it's your show. Go on.
Well, geographically, it's such an advantage too what they offer. So yeah, you get 11 wins. Certainly, they're going to be able to compete with most schools. Certainly, we know Texas A&M, their money runs really deep, but yeah, they'll be able to compete. Certainly with those teams.
Billy Mack, William McMillan, are we getting the transfer offensive lineman from South Carolina?
No, he is likely going to Michigan State. He was offered a PWO, which is preferred walk-on for those that don't know PWO, but I did, and I agree with that. I told people on the boards, like, I really was higher on Meach. Meach was that's Dimitri, by the way, Dimitri Emmanuel that they ended up getting and enrolling. I think this kid's. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. I don't think there's a massive difference between him and the younger guys that you already have on the team. For me, when I watch him, but I think he's going to end up at Michigan State, from what I hear.
Justin Turneltine
Yeah.
is the guy who was asking about. All right, let's speed through here real quick. Amp Knight, kind of the same question as our guy Dennis McFoley Jr. Basically, where does the 2023 class come in, do you think? I guess maybe it's better kind of framing from Dennis. Or, Dennis is asking the ceiling, and I guess Amp is kind of asking for the floor. If they do end up with 6 wins, let's say they go to a bowl game barely, versus they win 8 or 9 games and they beat 2 out of the 3. They beat Miami and Florida. They beat Clemson in Florida. Like, where do you see kind of maybe that window, the ceiling, the floor of those scenarios, Michael?
Yeah, my thing is like 6 and 7 is not going to really move the needle for me. I mean, they've been 5 and whatever every year. So I think 8 wins is what will move the needle. And it'll start moving in a positive direction. And it also depends on who you beat. I think that's a key too. Amp and the teams they win against. I mean, last year they should have beat Clemson. That was a win. That should have been a win. There's several games they should have won, and that ultimately really drastically changes your record. So I think 8 wins would be something that moves the needle. And then I talk about, top 10, 11, 12, around there. I think it could be there. Maybe outside shot if everything falls into place that you could be inside that, but that's kind of, the floor from what I see.
Couple more. Shush, Siri. We got a show going on here.
Yeah.
Scott June is back. Any 5-star recruits, Michael? I'm tired of getting 3 stars, says Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather report on them. 5-star, only 5-star I know is Brandon Ennis that is likely to officially visit FSU. But outside of him, I would caution 2 people. Like, these rankings are going to change throughout the year. So they have guys that are high 4 stars and up there, Rivals 100 and stuff like that. So I think right now, no, I don't think they're getting a 5-star at this point. I'd say no, but a lot can change in the summer and as the season goes. So, and these rankings are going to fluctuate of guys that are ranked lower or ranked in the 100s. Might be a 5-star. So just have to wait on that. But right now, my answer would be no.
Mark Sermon's in the house. What up, Mark? You get a little music.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I spared you all the air horn because I love you. And I listened to some of you. $10. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Michael, how do you get your information to start following guys, I guess specifically when they're real young? Is it from coaches? Is it from friends?
Well, it's just anybody that's either connected. Most of the time it's coaches. Most of the time it's just people I know that know somebody at that school that's connected that can kind of put me in the right place. It's kind of similar to what Ryan Bartow does with the FSU staff, puts them in the right place. There's guys I talk to that have put me in the right position. Sometimes it's coaches, sometimes it's just people around the kid that know them personally. So that's kind of how it starts. And usually it's like I know a lot of these kids from 2-year relationships. It's usually almost all of them are all 2 relationship, unless you're talking about transfers or maybe a JUCO kid. It might only be that year, but that's kind of how it starts, Mark.
Like it's been an hour. Everybody starts showing up to the party now, Michael. We got more going on. Kyle's back. Kyle called, but he's also dropping doll hairs. He gets a little bit of this.
Hey.
Get down or lay down, $20. Thank you, Kyle. 5 to Michael for bringing the inside knowledge. 15 to Aslan for bringing the sex. Yeah, man, that's right. That's right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Kyle. You're the man. I'll return the money to you because that's how we had this whole thing planned out. You pay me a compliment, give money. Chris from Perry, Georgia. He usually is smoking fine meats, brisket. Usually, hopefully. Can I commandeer you, Chris? Can I can't find the proper word. Like I want to hire you to like smoke me a brisket, see how it goes. But he asks, who's your dark horse guy in this most recent recruiting class? He says Dante Anderson. Yeah,
for me, it's Daniel Lyons, defensive tackle. I love him. I think he brings a lot that I think a lot of people forget about him because he's a 3-star. I think Omar Graham's up there too, but for me, Daniel Lyons, I just really love what I'm seeing. I think Dante's a really good answer, which is ironically they're close friends and from the same high school, and I don't think that's a bad answer, but for me, that I would pick Daniel.
I'd have to pull up the list to look at it. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
would defer to Michael's question. Sage Rubin, what's up, Sage? Just joined back. They dropped the question at like 6:20, and we started the show at 7 o'clock. It was about Chris Parsons, so we did get to the question, Sage. Probably like the 10-15-minute mark of the show if you want to scrub back after you hear Michael answer this question. How did the visit go with Stacy Gage?
Really good. Really good. I was there all day at Moore, like I usually am when there's top prospects, and it was really good. Mentioned home a lot, like probably at least 6 times, and um, I think they got at it everything they wanted to get out of where he was around, Coach Johnson a lot, and really just seeing everything. Or he said, like, I feel like I'm rushed. The times I've been here, and he's been to FSU like 4 times, so I think this time was much more slowed down where he could do everything he wanted to do, and it was I think it was really good. I mean, I think they're one of his top schools. I think Oklahoma's another school it's pretty high up there, but I think FSU is a school where he's consistently saying home, like when he's around him. Like you could tell there's a personal connection to FSU that it even said that it's very unique. The way I feel when I'm here, I don't feel that way at other places. So there's a unique ability of what connection he has with FSU when he's there on that campus, and the way he fits and the way he would be utilized and what they do with running backs. I mean, he understands like what they've done with the history with Norvell's running backs. It really jumps out to him. So I think it went really well.
There's one slight problem, though. These really good guys is that the other really good schools are going after them too. I mean, looking at it, they got Oklahoma. Although we'll see. I mean, Oklahoma, I would expect them to maybe drop off a little bit. At least maybe not be as enticing offensively, even with Jeff Levy being the OC. Lincoln Riley's not going to be there, but that's. I mean, he's pretty good talent.
And it's a challenge. I mean, you're going against the big boy, and a lot of it. Because you're talking about 2024, and he's not in a hurry to decide. It goes back to what I was talking about of guys want to see what the product looked like. That's why I say this is an important year for FSU to kind of show your worth as far as product. Kids want to see what this product looks like, and it's positive. 8 wins. Hey, it's going to be a dramatic effect as far as where this thing's going. I mean, that I think it's eventually you have to take those steps, and that's what a lot of kids like Stacy are really waiting to see, because that's the thing. All these kids are sold on everything they're doing within the university. I understand how organized they are, the preparation, the culture is phenomenal under Norvell and the staff. It's really just about the productivity as far as on the field, and that's what a lot of these kids are kind of just antsy to see.
Somebody asked another question, so we don't go out on this one. And it's not bad, and I don't want to go off on a somewhat negative question. But Eric Sandstrom was wondering if you think that Ron Dugans is living up to his contract extension in terms of recruiting and development.
It's hard. I would be lying if I said yes. So that's the way I would answer it. I've known Ron for a long time. Even when he came out of high school, I've known him. But the results are the results. And last year the receivers were the worst position out there that I saw, as far as FSU, and then they didn't sign a high school kid, so that should never happen. So yeah, he's got to do more. He's got to deliver more, and certainly he's got a lot more weapons to work with the transfer portal and the guys they added. But yes, he's got to deliver better, and so I'd say no at this point for me.
But hey, man, if Johnny Wilson can catch the ball well, which is something he struggled with in Tempe at Arizona State, and Micah Pittman can stay healthy, and those guys produce, and Winston Wright, we've heard maybe some encouraging stuff. Gene reported a few weeks ago where, we don't know the exact timeline, but it sounds like maybe like a mid-season return is practical and reasonable. So I don't think Deuce Spann doesn't strike me as a guy that would be ready. But hey, man, stranger things have happened. I mean, no one thought Jordan Travis was going to be the quarterback in 2020. And, look what he did in the limited time that he played games. I mean, maybe Deuce just goes out and catches you like, a 60-yard pass every 3 weeks or something. We'll take that. That won't be the worst thing in the world. But, yeah, they got to start recruiting. Brandon Ennis would be a nice get, right, Michael? Brandon Ennis would be a good get.
Yeah, I mean, you first of all, you got to sign some high school kids. regardless of what we're talking about with all these guys, look, they already have, I think, 2 already commitments, but you got to sign these guys. It doesn't matter what commitments you get if you don't sign them. So you got to sign your guys, and then 2, your unit has to look good. I mean, you have to show some value to what your unit is. Last year, that unit, they lost games because of that unit, because they couldn't throw the ball, or catch the ball, or get separation, or get much out of their passing game. So yeah, that has to change and improve. And it's not all on Ron. It's a combination of the passing game, but it's something that he's judged on, I'm sure.
All right, last one. I don't know if it's rhetorical or not, but Gator Kirk asks, am I mistaken, but are there more official visits earlier this year?
Yeah, I'm seeing that 11 for one weekend in June. Usually there's been 3 or 4 or 5, but 11, and then I think there's like 6 or 7 in June, on June 10th. So yeah, there's a little more, Kirk.
All right, there we go. Look at Eric. Eric, you didn't have to do that, man. But we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
a little bit of
Eric.
this. Appreciate you too, Eric. Thank you, man. Thanks to Eric. Thanks to Khalil. Thanks to James. Thanks to TJ, the boss. Mark Shermans, Get Down, Lay Down, a.k.a. Kyle. All of you folks for asking your questions. Thanks to Ralph, Wes, Gator Kirk. Kyle also called. I think those were our 4 callers. So appreciate all that as well. Michael will have a very busy weekend, but he'll be helped out by Irish O'Fell as well as Austin Cox. I didn't really even get to talk about it, I guess, Michael, but just on the way out. I mean, this elite camp at Saturday, the mega camp Sunday, probably not going to be something that you'll be on.
Yeah.
We'll have it covered, everybody. But again, it's a little bit of it's kind of to help out the kids. It's a goodwill sort of gesture by the staff to, help out some kids and help out some other coaches and maybe, rub some elbows and see who's an upcoming coach and maybe somebody can fit in there. But the elite camp, you're going to be working on a list, I imagine.
Yes,
on
yes.
Saturday, and then you'll be over the PRB, right?
Yeah, I'm expecting. I've already got a tip that I'm likely going to get a list. Later this week. I would guess around Thursday or Friday. So once I get that, I'll break stuff down for you guys. What we're going to have, who's going to be there, if there's anybody on commit watch or anybody I'm watching that could be close, and we'll discuss all that stuff. Austin Cox will be there with me, this weekend, and Austin's going to have he's going to transcribe this chat. So for those that didn't watch it, shame on you that didn't. Austin's got your back, and he's going to look out for you. So he's going to give you some of the highlights, not everything, because you got to watch to get everything. But that's kind of what we have coming up. I'm just waiting on that list before I really go into detail about everything. I already know a few, like I mentioned, DB Avery Stewart's going to be there. Obviously, we know defensive lineman Jordan Hall is going to be there. Jalen Brown originally has told me wide receiver he's going to be there, but I have to recheck and make sure. And then, we mentioned DJ Chester, offensive lineman. So we'll have hopefully a full list on that, and then I can kind of really dive into all these names, and we'll have it covered for you.
It's crazy how difficult it is for me to find Avery Stewart if I don't spell his last name like the city in South Florida. If I spell it like Dave Stewart, like the pitcher, like doesn't even pop up. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, we'll have you covered, everybody. Video, interviews, nuggets, tweets, everything will be over on the PRB. So do check out with that. And in the meantime, stay connected. Mike will have updates throughout as we get closer to the weekend. So thanks for tuning in. A reminder, Wake Up Warchant will be waiting for you at midnight. If you watch and listen on YouTube, it'll also be in your podcast over the morning. And then the Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock with Tom Lang on 93.3 FM in Tallahassee, as well as here on YouTube. Hey, Michael, thanks, man. We appreciate you doing this, bud. We'll do it again.
Anytime, bud.